Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff. Hey guys, welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I'm your host, Maureen. We're here with Tiffany.
Hello.
And Amanda.
Hello.
And we are here with a very special guest from Sweet Magnolias. She plays Lily. Her name is Artemis.
Hi.
Hello. We are so glad to have you on here. We have some questions for you, and we're excited to get to know you a little better. Good.
Oh, that sounds great.
So how did you first hear about this role and what drew you to it?
So my audition story is actually pretty wild. I got the audition from my agent, like I usually do, but it fell right in the middle of my midterms. And so I remember I kept looking at it and I was like, oh, I like this character. She sounds so great, but I have like a paper due at midnight. So I ended up finishing the paper at midnight and then getting my hair and makeup done and filming this audition and another one at like 2 a.m.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Right. And I was like, oh no, I wish I like looked less tired. My hair was done nicer, but we'll see. And then I got the call back the next day.
Ooh, fast.
I love your work ethic though. I mean, there's not a lot of people, they see a role that they put their school first and then still go on to do the audition. That's awesome. Where are you going to school at? If I can ask that.
I'm going to Harvard and I'm studying economics.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I took an economics class. I studied English. I don't know why I had to take economics. I did. And it didn't make any sense to me. So that's amazing that you're doing that. That's awesome.
Well, I actually really considered studying English as well. And I'm thinking of adding on a minor just because I love writing.
Yes. Have you written anything that you were able to show people?
Well, actually, when I was young, I want to say 12 years old, I wrote a novel that's like 200 pages and everything. But then when I was working with editors, I realized that my writer's voice wasn't where I wanted it to be. And I thought it sounded immature. Surprise, surprise, I was 12, so it sounded immature. And actually, when COVID hit and when quarantine was happening, I fell back into wanting to write, and I'm working on a book right now.
That's awesome.
Oh. Well,
Can you tell us like the subject matter of the book?
Yes, so it's still a first draft, so I don't want to say too much because it might get changed, but this is going to be a historical fiction novel about a young orphan girl, and it covers like 10 to 12 years of her life. It's based in the 1850s to 1860s, and I was very much inspired by works such as Jane Eyre and also the new Little Women movie.
Okay.
Nice.
You're hitting all my sweet spots with that. I minored in history in college too, so it's like those are like my favorite. That's like my favorite time period.
That's perfect.
That's awesome. You let me know when you finish that because I want to buy it and I want to read it. So that's awesome. I'm excited. I like to write too, so I'm always curious when other people do that kind of stuff. That's really exciting to hear.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't wait to hear more about that.
Thank you.
Did you always know that you wanted to be in the entertainment industry?
So first, my dream was to be a writer. And actually that helped me get into acting because my best friend in childhood, she also loved to write. And we would sometimes write out these scenes together. And then we thought, why don't we try to film it and act it out? And that was my first experience in front of the camera. And I really enjoyed it. And then I remember I just told my parents, like, I think I want to act. And they got me lessons and we went from there.
When did you start? Like, did you have a first audition around that time, or was there an age that you got in, like you actually started auditioning for roles?
So I started auditioning for roles around a few months after I started acting because I went to an agency and they suggested an acting school and like a 6-week intensive for me to do to learn the basics and get into it. I remember, oh gosh, I found one of my old audition tapes once. Oh no, it was so bad. Oh gosh, I remember because, well, I was really tall when I was younger. I'm only like an inch taller than I was when I was 12. I was like 5'5", and I looked mature. And so, you know, if I'm 12, but I look 16, they would get an 18-year-old to play 16 or a 16-year-old to play 16. There's not going to be a 12-year-old doing that. So it was hard for me to find my place with roles. But I remember this one audition, my character was supposed to be at a party because she was older and she had like a drink in her hand. And for some reason, I thought I was making a strong choice by pretending to hold a drink in my hand like this. And I watched it back like, what are you doing? I did not get that one.
I was just gonna ask. So when was the first role that you got?
So I did some indie work just to get like some experience on set, and that was, I heard someone say, if you can survive doing an indie movie, you can do any kind of acting, because it's difficult conditions and there's so much like, because it's non-union, the hours can be crazy. And I was like 14. I remember sleeping on set and everything. But my first more major role, I was in Vice Principals, which was a comedy series on HBO. And I got to work with Danny McBride, and the director was David Gordon Green. And it was a really fun experience.
So not small names.
No, and it was crazy. I was in the makeup trailer getting my makeup done. I was the last person there. And then Danny McBride bursts in. He's like, I'm so sorry, I'm late. And then I was like a little starstruck. And then he looked at me, he was like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, oh, hi.
Can you tell us a little bit about your time on set and working with some of the other cast members?
Yeah. So I met Annalise, actually. I had 3 audition stages, and the last one was a chemistry read with her just to see how we meshed together. And so I had already met her before, and we clicked pretty fast. We were already like chatting off screen and everything, and I hope they thought they made a good choice with the chemistry with that. And we started hanging out pretty quickly off of set. So it was great getting to build a friendship with her. And we like went traveling to places, driving hours and hours away. And so I connected with her definitely the most, but everyone else has just been so wonderful to be around. And like I said before we started the interview, this was the warmest set experience I have ever had. And it really started from in the chemistry read. I remember I was feeling nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the last stage before they choose. I'm nervous. And I was on Zoom. Everyone was there. And we did the first scene the first time. And I hear a voice come from a little screen that was off, but it said Cheryl Anderson. And she goes, that was just delightful. And I remember it put me so at ease. And that is Cheryl's energy. She is so warm and so inviting. And she made me feel so comfortable just before we even met in person.
That's
and then of course I have other friends.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. And like when the show came out, I had like this watch party, and we had, Gabriela Garcia. She plays Sophie. I love her. She's a great friend. She comes over to my house. It's crazy because we met at the cast party because our characters never meet in the show in season 2, but we're friends in real life. Just, I guess, not in the show yet, maybe.
Did you know her before? You met her at a cast party for Sweet Magnolias.
Right. I met her at the cast party for Sweet Magnolias, and she was here. Brittany was here, who plays Peggy. Lana, who is Willow. So we had like this great time.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Do you have any favorite memories or scenes that you filmed?
Ooh.
This is always a loaded question.
Right. So the scene with Ty Carson in episode 10, I was surprised when I read that. I remember getting the script and I was like, am I flirting? Oh my gosh.
Don't worry, we all had the same reaction.
Yeah, but I was like, I guess it's not surprising because Lily showed like a lot of interest from the first moment we met her. But I remember that one was really fun because it was my last day on set. So it was a little bittersweet, but at that point I felt really comfortable with everyone. And so I felt like I wasn't so in my head. In episode 5, I remember being a little more nervous, having all of this around me. Everyone knows each other, but by the end, it was so much easier of an experience. And after we wrapped, they all like clapped for us and brought us flowers and everything. So it was just a great experience overall.
I did see on Annalise's, I think it was her Facebook page, where she showed them handing her the flowers on her last day on set. I didn't know they did that for everybody. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Instagram, Tiffany has been kind of binge watching your YouTube channel.
Oh, really?
I really have. You have some great videos up there. And let me tell you, you are a phenomenal singer. I absolutely love your voice.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I haven't done YouTube as much. It took so much time every week, and I just wanted to shift over to something else. So that's why I've been more active on things like Instagram and Facebook, because it is a lot easier to post pictures and short videos.
Something you don't have to take time editing and going through.
Oh yeah.
How did you get started in YouTube? Like what made you decide to go that route?
So when I was younger, like most young people, I really liked the internet, and I was watching YouTube, and there was this one girl, I don't know if you've heard of her, but her name was Christina Grimmie.
Oh yeah.
And I absolutely loved her videos. And I remember that I used to format like my title and everything like she would, because she was kind of my idol on YouTube. Aww. And so she really inspired me to start that.
That's awesome.
It's really strange. I was just listening to her on my way home, maybe 30 minutes ago.
Oh, wow.
Like, that was really strange. You just said that. I was like, wow.
No, that's actually something we've been asking all the Sweet Magnolias cast, is because there's that karaoke scene in season 2.
Yeah.
And we're firmly believing that season 3 is coming and it's being picked, because you can't leave all those storylines like that. You can't.
It's too good of a show.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'm not worried.
We're hoping to get everyone who can, and even those who cannot sing, to join a karaoke. Of course, your character wouldn't be allowed
to
car necessarily, but you could have like a team karaoke night with all the team. I think that would be awesome.
Oh, that would be fun. That'd be really fun. Yeah.
You'll have to get like some bad singers up there with you and make sure that they sing with you, though, so that you can carry them.
Just as long as I don't have to sing with Chris Medlin, because he's so good.
Yeah,
I'm like, you stay out of this.
We've been watching his TikToks with his dance moves and his singing, so it's intimidating.
So since I've been watching your videos, is there a favorite genre you like to sing or perform?
So the kind of music that I would categorize as the kind I usually do and did was called classical crossover, where it's not strictly opera, and it has like some more pop elements into it. One of the singers that I really, really love her music is Sarah Brightman. She has this kind of mix where she was the original Christine for the Phantom of the Opera. And so it's like, it's that style of, having a classically trained voice, but having some more modern elements to it.
I love the Phantom of the Opera songs that you've been doing. That's
I love Phantom of the Opera.
One of my favorites. I've been watching them all morning.
And it's such a creative way to express it when you're taking a classic spin and adding something poppy to it, or even something different to it. I think those end up surprising you the most. I love those versions of songs.
Yeah. And Celtic women do something similar, and I love all that kind of music.
Yeah.
So a little bit about your time on set. Could you tell us what the filming process was like how long you were generally on set for at a time?
Yeah, so because I am an adult, I don't have some of the restrictions some of the younger people have. They actually have like a time limit. I don't remember exactly, but they pumpkin at a certain time, which is meant to be like in Cinderella, they turn into a pumpkin after their time is up. Yeah, I always thought that was so cute. So I remember one time I had a 15-hour day, but like 10 to 12 is pretty typical in filming anything. And then they have like a certain amount of time that you have to have at home so you can sleep properly and shower and all that kind of stuff before you get back to set. So yeah, 12-hour days are pretty average.
Those hours you're on set, is that that's comprised of like waiting in your trailer. It's comprised of being filmed. It's comprised of, now, do you have like prep that you do? Like, do you a rehearsal, I guess? Or do you guys just
So
get into filming?
sometimes we'll rehearse. So a few times you would be like in the makeup trailer and then they'd be like, knock, knock. We actually need you to just stop what you're doing and come rehearse. And so then we'd get in the van, they'd take us to set, and you would go over the scene and also the blocking, which is where you plan where you're going to walk and everything, just to make sure that the camera knows where to follow you. And they put down these little sticky things. And I remember someone, I think they found out I liked pink, so they kept making mine like pink or purple, and I thought that was really cute. But yeah, so we would often rehearse with each other just a few times, just so that the directors and DP knew what we were going to be doing. And then we would finish up makeup, hair, or just waiting in cast holding. And then we would come back, and often we would just shoot the next rehearsal, which means you're going through it your first time, but why not roll the cameras just in case you catch something?
Mm-hmm. I was talking to a director once who he'd said that one of his favorite parts about filming is playing it out after a scene, and often keeping what they've done outside of the scene when the scene ends, keeping that in, because he likes to see the way the actors play it out, the way that you guys kind of move it out.
Yeah, in my acting classes, they always said have a moment before and a moment after. It shouldn't be like action, oh, I'm in character. You need to be living in the scene.
Yeah.
So it comes organically.
Mm-hmm. I really felt that with your character, that the way you played Lily, I really like, it felt very natural. It didn't feel like, because you can get into some of these shows where you have newer actors or actresses and it feels like I'm just going to read from a script and I'm just going to hit my marks and that's it. But it felt a lot of it in season 2 especially, it felt very organic. It felt, a lot of the scenes felt very natural, like it was a conversation I would have with somebody else. And it wasn't stilted, it wasn't hard points, it was nice and flowy and conversational.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember Norman was actually saying, he said to me that he was glad I was feeling comfortable in the scene, like visually to him, because he said that sometimes when people first come on set, they just stare into the other actor's eyes and say their lines. And he was like, it's good. No, what you're doing is good. Like, do your thing and look at Annie and Jackson and all them.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned cast holding. Is that, in my head, it might be different than what cast holding actually is. I'm picturing like all the actors in one room just like hanging out and doing stuff. What is cast holding? What happens in there?
So cast holding is where, when we are not filming, but we're done with hair and makeup and we're by the set, they'll have a separate room with all of our chairs that say like Sweet Magnolias on it for us all to hang out and have air conditioning in some instances when it's like a really hot day.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll just like hang out there, talk, read books, etc. And yeah, that's where I actually got to know a lot of the cast who I don't necessarily have a lot of scenes with. Mm-hmm. So like Bianca and Jackson, I was able to talk with those two little ones because I only have like a small thing with Jackson, but I was actually able to like talk to them and get to know them and their mothers. And I talked to Tracy, who plays Pastor June. And I remember it was so sweet of her. I actually said to her, like, your career is where I want it to be, someday. Can I pick your brain? And she was like, yeah, go ahead.
I love Pastor June's character. Mm-hmm. She's someone I would like to have a chat with. I'm sure I'm assuming, of course, that, I want to talk to Pastor June, but I'm assuming that in person, she's just as nice as her character is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There have been some characters, like Jackson's character, we hated until season 2.
Yes.
And so you didn't get to act with the Jackson that everyone wanted to hit in the face. You got the Jackson that everyone now loves.
Right.
That's good.
And everyone loves Sam.
Yes.
And I remember just like meeting him and I was like, I'm a little skeptical of you because of Jackson. But no, he's fantastic. He's a great person. And then I was wondering, how do you play Jackson? Like, how are you this like such a mean guy in season 1?
But he turns it around in season 2.
He does.
So
He and Annalise are now our favorite couple across the board. So.
Oh, yay.
Yes.
Sweet Magnolias is known for their Southern sayings. Do you have a favorite Southern saying?
Oh my goodness. So I grew up in the South.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did. I was born in Atlanta and I've lived in Georgia for most of my life. Okay. I don't have any Southern sayings that I think that I say, but one time I was in the South just like browsing in a shop and I heard someone exclaim, "What in the hootenanny?" and I always repeat it because it was so funny. I was like, "What in the hootenanny?"
I've actually heard that.
You have?
Yes.
Amanda's in Texas, so she's our only Southerner here. Tiffany, I'm Wisconsin and she's Pennsylvania, so we're very far north.
Oh, okay.
So is it the dialogue that they have in Sweet Magnolias with all the Southern sayings? Would you guys say? I'm asking Amanda and Artemis because you're both Southern. Is that accurate to the South? Do people say those? Do people just throw sayings out like it's effortless?
Not in Texas.
I would say sometimes,
yeah.
But not at the frequency. But I grew up in a small town like Serenity. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows everyone's business. And definitely bless your heart is very common from where I was from.
Used as an insult or a compliment?
Both.
I've heard mostly compliment. I was also young when I was there, but also as like a way to say like goodbye or like I express my condolences and things like that. So
it's like aloha for Hawaiian people.
Yeah, it's an all-encompassing phrase.
It's good to know. So watching this show made me laugh a lot because of some of the phrases. My favorite one is, "You don't have the sense God gave a goose." I don't know why I love that one so much, but that is one of my favorites.
That is a good one.
Of course, it's said to Bill, who we all love to hate. So.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, Bill needs to just stop.
Doesn't he?
Like once I found out that he was the father of Isaac, I was like, "Bill, you need to just sit down with yourself and just stop. Don't mess with any of the women in Serenity anymore."
You're celibate from now on. You don't need a partner. Just stop. So when did you find out that portion of the script? Because that's something that they wanted to string along for as long as possible. So when did you find out he was Isaac's father?
When the show came out.
Oh, really?
Oh, wait, no. Actually, I got the script for episode 10, so I did see that portion, right? But the part about Isaac being Peggy's son, I think I found out like in a script or on set as well. So I only got the script for what I was in, and so it leaves a lot of like questions for other things. Like, oh my goodness, I was so convinced. I saw Carson with his arm in a cast and I went, he's in the car. And then the night the show came out, I saw it and my mind was blown. I was so convinced that I had this solved. And I texted Simone immediately and was like, "You were in the car?"
See, we interviewed Simone and Logan twice before season 2 came out, and neither one of them gave up anything at all. We thought we could break them, but nothing. We got nothing out of them.
They were good.
No, we will keep our secrets to the grave, or at least to the next season.
Did you have a theory on who was going to be Isaac's father?
I did not. I never would have expected it was Bill, and I didn't think. Once I found out that Peggy was the mother, I actually didn't even consider who the father was. And then I heard it was Bill and I was like, oh my gosh, of course it's Bill.
He's the only father of all the children in that town.
Maybe he's my father. No.
What I like about interviewing the Sweet Magnolias cast is you guys always give us something that we can look forward to in season 3. So your line is going to be, Bill is your father.
Oh, no.
We're building our own season 3 in our heads.
Harlan's going to be mayor. Hunter is Trotter. What was Trotter's? Trotter's going to have episodes dedicated to him doing housework.
No, but Trotter wants Mary Vaughn to be mayor.
Yes.
We're against that.
Do you have someone you would like to be mayor in season 3?
I love Helen.
Yes.
I think she would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I just love Helen, period.
Yeah.
In this household, we stand Helen Decatur. Helen is amazing.
Yes,
She is.
I agree completely.
Yes.
I want to be her when I grow up.
Mhm.
Me too.
No, she was amazing. And I remember I got to work with one of her real life sons who played an extra in one of my scenes. I think
On Sweet
I don't think that
Magnolias?
scene got cut. Yeah, on Sweet Magnolias. So me and Annalise are handing out some papers at the beginning of Vacation Bible School, and he's one of the first ones to come through.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome. She's
Yeah,
one
so
you
you
could
got
do
to
a
see
duet with.
Oh my gosh.
See, that would be fun.
Yeah. But it was so interesting to just see like him get to see what his mom does for work. And he was maybe he saw how it's not as glamorous as one may think. It's a lot of hours and a lot of hard work. But it was very cool to see her bring her children there so they can experience it.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that scene because I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're inside the church, right? And you and Annalise are on the other side of the aisle.
And then the Townsends come in.
Okay,
right.
I'm gonna go back and see because I didn't know that was her son. No, that's awesome.
I want to go watch that. So you mentioned that you have been writing. Do you have any desire to do any screenplays at all in the future?
Ooh.
I've considered it. And actually, this is part of what I mean about like Cheryl is so nice. She and Norman put together, and also Mary Lou, they put together where they had this like meeting where they told us, like they had a Q&A about writing and about directing. Just one afternoon at Cheryl's house, and that was such a wonderful experience.
Wow.
So I went there and I was writing down all the notes of what Cheryl said about writing, and it was a lot of screenwriting questions, and so that actually got me a little more interested in it because I had only really considered writing for books, but I'm like, I'm an actor, like it makes sense for me to want to be interested in screenwriting, so that could be in the future, but for right now I'm really happy writing books.
Nice.
I'm excited to read it when it comes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that they did. I've never heard of a showrunner or a writer or director of a show doing something like that. How awesome is that?
Right.
That's amazing.
And because we couldn't have like a big wrap party because of COVID and everything, we had like a really small intimate one. Again, with Cheryl hosting and like making all this food for everyone, and her son was there, and it was just, there's a reason why the Sweet Magnolias cast gushes over the rest of the Sweet Magnolias cast and crew, is because it's like this.
Yeah. I feel like I want to be friends with her. Just putting that out into the universe. I just want to be friends with her.
Just put it out. Manifest it.
There you go.
So the question we always ask everybody we interview is there a favorite TV show that you would love to have a chance to work on, or a favorite actor that you would like to work with?
Oh wow. There's so many. Of course, I'm excited for Bridgerton coming out. Bridgerton season 2. I love Bridgerton.
I'm ready on
Facebook
episode
group
3.
on them, so our team is already watching to start our pod because we're going to be doing some podcast episodes on it, some recaps. So they're already doing the research.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, especially because I love like history and like the Regency era is so beautiful. I mean, obviously I'm writing a book based in like not quite Regency, but 1850. And with a show like that, it lets people who look like me to be able to actually act in that kind of world, because I was always sad about that growing up. I was like, oh, I'm an actor, but it's unlikely I would ever be in something like this. Another show of mine that's my absolute favorite, but it stopped after one season, is the Netflix show, The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
Oh.
It's pretty niche. Not many people know about it, but I love Jim Henson's work, and I loved the original movie. And the series, you can tell it was just made with so much love. And in the series is actually an actress I'd love to work with, who is Anya Taylor-Joy. I think she's absolutely phenomenal, and I would love to work with her someday.
Oh, yeah.
My husband actually, when that premiered, my husband and I were like, we have to watch this because it was like our childhood.
You saw it. Oh
Yes.
my gosh. Almost everyone I mentioned it to is like, what is that? What? Oh my gosh. I love it so much.
See, I'm going to be 40 next year. So that's definitely like, that was Jim Henson and all of his works and the Dark Crystal. I remember watching that when I was a kid, the original. So
yeah, me too.
Me
too. I had it on, oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Don't make fun of me. What's it called? The VHS?
Yep.
Yeah.
I like how big you're making it though.
Yeah, it was pretty big and it was on VHS, but on my bookshelf over there, I have all the Dark Crystal books and like the descriptions of the 7 clans in the world. Like, I love the Dark Crystal.
I love your answer. We have not had anyone say those answers before, so I love that.
No. I love that.
So we had our 100th episode not that long ago. And one thing that we started doing that we decided we're going to do for every interview we do from now on, because it's just fun, is rapid fire questions. This or that, basically.
Okay.
So
just get ready.
You can feel free to give us some background if you want. We call them rapid fire because we were just giving you 2 options that you got to choose.
Yeah. We're not mean. All right. So we'll start out very easy. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
That's a very fast answer for a lot of people.
See, I'm vanilla. I'm weird, but I know I'm odd. All right. So early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Can I ask what times you would get up now? Because we were talking about this right before you came on.
So recently it's been later, but I really loved when I had a schedule recently of getting up around 6 or 7. I know some people are like, why would you ever want to do that?
That's my question.
But I always feel like I can have a much slower morning to get started when I'm up earlier. I can just make my tea, sit on the balcony and not worry about, okay, now I need to get to work. So that's why.
That might explain why I feel rushed all the time.
That's why I like getting up early. I feel like I have a day. If I wake up late, I feel like half my day's gone. And then
and it's so sad when the sun starts setting and you're like, oh, I feel like I've had hardly any sun today.
I didn't do anything today. All right. Explore space or explore the ocean?
Explore space. Because the ocean kind of scares me.
I'm with you on
Not
that.
that space isn't scary, but I learned to swim pretty late in life. So space.
All right. Travel to the future or travel to the past? I think I know your answer.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe not.
Travel to the past. Oh, but there's like laws and things and no air conditioning. Let's say travel to the past though, just because of the clothing and the architecture.
Just for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Don't stick me back there forever.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if you know this one. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
That was a fast answer.
My dad was always a big Star Wars fan, and I had like fake lightsabers from the time I was little. I watched Star Trek, of course, but I'm definitely more of a Star Wars person.
Awesome. All right. Teleportation or mind reading?
Mind reading.
See, that just seems like I would be exhausted.
It is a little invasive and exhausting, but I mean, just think about it. As an actor, you're like, what is this director looking for?
Ooh, that's true. Yep. You can hit your auditions every single time.
Right. I'm like, oh, I thought she was supposed to be sad in this scene, but she's frustrated. And now I got that. Okay.
All right. Amusement park or water park?
Amusement park.
Do you have like are you like a thrill ride person?
Oh, I wouldn't say so, but I love Universal Studios because it has something to do with acting and the rides are not so much.
Yeah.
Like there's the Buckbeak ride in the Harry Potter world that has a little bit of a thrill, but not too much. So that's where I like to stay.
Yeah. Okay. See,
and it's weird because I was a gymnast, but I'm like, I don't like to flip when other people are having me flip. I flip myself.
You like to be in control of what your body's doing, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right. Ghosts or aliens?
to be afraid of or that I like?
That you're interested in, maybe.
Yeah.
Ghosts, because from when I was little, I had a huge phobia of aliens, and I've gotten over it mostly, but it's still a little. I saw War of the Worlds when I was very young, and it was not good for me.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah.
See, we had the 80s where there was like no limit on what you can put in a movie or show to a kid. So we always had horrifying alien films. So we didn't like that either.
I watched Alien at a very, very young age.
Oh, I still avoid alien movies.
Yeah.
They're just a little much for me.
They are.
They really are. They're terrifying.
But
All
I
right.
love ghost stories, even
Me
though it
too.
scares me. It makes me like not want to wash my face at night. I'm like looking up.
See, that's why I just don't go out, like take out trash at night or anything. Nope. Not gonna
Definitely.
happen. I'll wait till the morning. All right. Board games or card games?
Board games.
You have a
Love
favorite
Favorite board game?
I love Settlers of Catan.
Oh,
I love that game.
we have I work with our youth group at our church, and our whole youth team plays it. So there's like 6 of us that get together and play it, and we have like 18 boards that we put together, and it's like
Oh my
hours
gosh.
and hours of this. There was one
That
night
sounds really fun.
it is fun. There was one night we stayed up until like 3 a.m, just myself and the youth pastor, because I didn't know how to play the game. It was stuck in one little corner with no ports, and I kept rolling the wrong number on the dice.
No, you got to get to those ports. You got to spread out.
No one, I think that they wanted me to lose so they could win. So no one really told that to me. That was my first time ever playing it. So I've learned my lesson.
Sabotage.
All right. Country or city?
City.
City. All right. Sour or sweet?
Sweet.
How about salty or sweet?
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
All right. Dog or cat?
Cat.
Yay.
That makes them happy.
At some point, you might see 2 little kitties like walking back here.
I have 4.
Oh. Yeah, I keep being like, there was this stray cat who was outside my apartment complex. And I was asking people, like, do you know if this has an owner? Does he have an owner? They're like, oh, yeah, I think he has an owner. And I was like, oh,
Bummer.
well. I can't bring this one home.
Finders keepers. Just put up like a little poster. Just one.
A tiny little one.
That's
If you want the cat.
It's the size of a locket. We tried.
All right. Cardio or weights?
Cardio. I know that makes me sound like crazy, but
No.
My answer is neither. So I mean, it doesn't sound any different to me no matter what you pick.
but I like to do something called bar or pure bar.
Yeah.
And it's where it's kind of like ballet inspired exercises. So I find that really cool.
See, that would be fun to do, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely fun. And there's like blaring music and everyone's doing it at the same time. And they're like more complicated motions. So you don't just feel like, oh, I'm just gonna do this over and over.
It's more interesting. It keeps your brain moving.
You're a creative person. You need that outlet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I need a distraction from the pain.
There you go.
All right. Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram,
All right. Text message or phone call?
text message.
That's me too. Who wants to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
on a phone now?
No.
I'd
I
rather
know.
in person, but I will not talk. I'd rather shoot my own foot than talk on a phone.
When I get a phone call, I'm like, is something wrong?
Exactly. Exactly.
Why do you call?
Why are you calling me? Just saying hi. Why? All right. Skiing or snowboarding? Or either.
Snowboarding? Oh, skiing, because at least you feel like you have some kind of thing to balance you. I've never done either, but skiing sounds fun.
Mhm.
All right. Watch or play sports?
Play sports.
Do you have a favorite?
So growing up, I did gymnastics and I also did martial arts. So sports was always a big part of my life. My dad was actually an NCAA gymnast.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, he has like a gold and a silver from way back, but
That's awesome.
he never wanted me to get like really into gymnastics because he broke like 21 bones doing
Holy
gymnastics.
cow.
And so he was always like, this is a good form of exercise, but don't ever put yourself in danger of doing something, which is hard with gymnastics. I mean, I have my fair share of injuries, but I've always been a sporty person because of that. Like, I think it was when I was just barely alive, what was it, 2 months old, something like that. My dad held me in his arms and did like a sideways roll. So the first time I ever flipped, I was like 2 months old. I'm a prodigy. What can I say?
That's awesome.
I love it. All right. Online or in-person shopping?
Ooh.
See, to me, it depends on what I'm shopping for.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to say online because you can find like every specific thing you're looking for. But when it comes to clothing, you often get it and you're like, why is this so thin and see-through and not good quality? But I'll say online because there's a lot more to shop for.
That's true.
Like laptop cases and books and stuff.
And I feel like over the last couple of years, we've just all
gravitated toward that.
Yeah, accustomed to online shopping.
Yeah, I don't even like think of going to a mall anymore. I remember I wanted to order something online and I was like, oh, but how will I know if this fits me? And then someone was like, the store at the mall, it's the exact same store. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. They have an in-person store.
I forgot. That's me too. Don't worry. All right. Music or podcasts?
Music. I feel like podcasts, I have to be in a specific mood, but music is all the time.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Cake or pie?
Pie.
What kind
because I like to make pie.
Oh, you do? Okay. Do you have a favorite to eat and a favorite to make?
So my favorite to make is pumpkin pie because I feel like it's pretty easy. And I'll say it's my favorite to eat too because that's the one I make the most.
Yeah. You can't beat a good pumpkin pie.
Yeah. But I also love pecan pie. But I cannot make cake. I've never made cake and it seems like a much bigger task than pie. But I don't know if she told you this, but Simone is really good at baking things.
She told us that she dabbles in it. She was telling us about some of the stuff she made. Yeah.
She's being humble.
Logan called her out on that quite a bit.
Ooh, tea or coffee?
Tea.
I recently have a friend who has a tea shop, so she got me into like loose leaf tea. Do you prefer that, or do you prefer like the tea bags?
I love loose leaf tea, but I often go for a tea bag for convenience. But I'm a big fan of Earl Grey, and especially Earl Grey with like some creamy elements in it. I drink Earl Grey like every single day.
I never did until I took a vacation to London with a college friend of mine, and they had the heavy cream that they put in their tea, and they had the scone with the clotted cream. This is the best tea I've ever had in my life.
Oh yeah.
All right. Go out or stay in?
Go out, because like even when I'm doing things that I could stay in for, I often like to go out for it. Like I'll just go to Starbucks to write or to do my emails and stuff, just because, especially after COVID and everything, I'm like, I just want to get out any way possible. I'll go to the library and just sit in a corner, but I'm out.
Yeah.
The library and coffee shops are like two of the best, most conducive places to writing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Movies or TV shows?
Now I know I'm here for a TV show.
No, just be honest.
This is a really hard answer for an actress who does both.
Yeah.
It is hard. I love movies because there's a start and an end in one night, and I don't have to keep wondering. Yes. So I do like to watch my movies.
I watched this show called Sanditon. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it was based on Jane Austen's unfinished novel, Sanditon. And
Oh,
it's real good. But they
It is.
canceled it after one season. And so the fandom, if you call the Sanderson Sisterhood, we campaigned super hard for like almost 2 years. And then we got a season 2 and season 3 after that. But we were binge watching the first season over and over and over again. And they just released it on the 20th, but they released the first 2 episodes. So you kind of like, oh, sweet, I'm going to binge this. But now we have to wait every week again.
no, that's how I felt. That's how I felt with Euphoria, because I'm so used to Netflix and how like everything comes out at once. And I went there and I was like, episode 1. What do you mean?
How dare you?
One of my friends said she's just waiting until all of the episodes come out, then she's gonna watch it.
If you have self-control, that is the way to do it. I don't have self-control. I need to start it the moment it's out.
Yeah. I watched like the first 2 episodes and I was like, no, I'm tired of waiting every week. I'm just gonna stop, wait for it to catch up, and then I'm just gonna binge it. All right. Laundry or dishes?
Laundry. Because in this day and age, the machine does the laundry.
It's true. That's true. It's the folding and putting away that I don't like.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
That's
right.
the hard
You're
part.
right.
That's the
But
only
probably still
part I don't like.
laundry.
It is very satisfying to put the you can even buy the laundry pads. Like you don't even have to dump the laundry detergent in there. You can just buy the pre-made packages. It's very satisfying to do that part.
It is. All right. Jogging or hiking?
Hiking.
All right. Burgers or tacos?
Burgers.
Do you like tacos?
I went to a taco place last night.
All right. So do you eat your tacos from the left or the right?
You mean like which way it turns?
Or which way your head turns? What do you do when you eat a taco?
I like pinch the taco and I turn it and me. I meet it halfway.
It was Maureen and I went to a conference for the Vampire Diaries months ago, and that was one of the questions that one girl kept asking every single actor that went up there, and every time when she did it, I just lost it. I'm like, what question is that?
Because you get to watch all the actors immediately try to mimic eating a taco and try to figure out which way they go, and so that's
I did that too.
that's what we ask everybody now.
Oh my gosh,
that's my favorite one. I'm like, because every time she just cracked me up doing it, because we would
It's
see her walk up and I'm like, oh, here it goes.
And it's an unexpected question that you probably have never been asked before.
right? I've never even thought about it.
Yep.
Just as long as you don't eat it like this way, like actually, not turning or anything.
Frank Oakley wasn't Frank Oakley the one who said he eats it like that, just straight on? Harlan Bixby.
It was either Frank Oakley or Hunter.
Frank. What are you
I think
doing?
it was Frank.
I
don't think that would just hurt. It was a hard shell taco. It just hurt.
It
would. All right. Passenger or driver?
Driver. I get car sick.
So
I like to be the one driving.
All right. Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Good choice.
It's cleaner and you have a pocket for all the good things that go
right
in. Yeah. I like waffles more.
I have this tiny little waffle maker that's like this big and pink, and so I can make my own like little mini waffle.
I just bought one and it's in the shape of a star, so I can make like star waffles for my kids.
I got one in the shape of a heart that's really mini. It's red.
I've seen so many of the other shaped ones, but I was like, no, you have a waffle maker and you don't need more than one waffle maker because they're in shapes and colors.
You could do the next cast party and just offer a variety of shapes of waffles for everyone who comes over.
Oh my gosh. For the cast party, I did bake banana nut muffins, but that was it. And like a charcuterie board and stuff. We had like a pour it out station where I had champagnes and margaritas, and I wrote on my little blackboard like pour it out. Very on theme. But then everyone drank the champagne and I was left with all the margaritas.
Oh darn.
We had our last podcast where we recapped the final of season 1. We had a pour it out night where we had most of us made like virgin margaritas that we drank while we recapped the show.
Hey, most of us were virgin margaritas. Tiffany down there, I see you making a face. Yours might have been real.
Totally a virgin margarita.
I had never made a margarita before. And so I remember I was texting my friend and I was like, what goes in a margarita? Like, what kind of, I don't know what kind of alcohol you even use.
I had to look it up on Google because I didn't know either.
And then I tried to get it from Kroger, and then they were like, we don't have hard stuff like that. And I was like, hard stuff? What am I making? They were like, we have beer and wine, and that's it.
Oh, wow.
Well, grocery stores,
But-
yeah, that's normal.
I had no idea, but
I
they
didn't
had
know
like
that.
a pre-made mix, so I got that.
That's easy. That's how you're supposed. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way you just add the tequila.
Right.
All right. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke products. I actually don't like Coke or Pepsi.
Oh, what is your
I like
preferred
Sprite.
soda? Okay, there you go.
And Fanta. I like those
Oh,
too.
Fanta.
I love Fanta too. See, I don't
The
like Coke
orange
or
one?
Pepsi either.
The
If I
orange
want
one
like
is
a
one I
dark soda, I want Dr. Pepper.
Mhm.
Mm,
But usually I just want sweet tea if I
Gross.
go anywhere.
yeah. Or if you like orange Fanta, there's a soda called Virgil's Orange Cream Soda.
That's good. I
And
had that.
it's like, yeah, it's like Fanta, but to the next level.
Mhm.
It's
Oh,
so good.
good.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It's really
I want to
good.
get that. My kids love orange Fanta.
Mhm.
All right. Sand or snow?
Snow. Because
Good
it's
choice.
rare for me living in
Oh.
Georgia.
I sensed a butt coming there. I live in Wisconsin, and my
Yeah.
answer is sand.
Yeah, I mean, I like the beach and everything, but I went to live in Boston for a while to go on campus to school. I study mostly online, but I
Mhm.
wanted to also have an on-campus experience.
Yeah.
And I get there, and then 2 weeks later, I get told that I was booked for Stargirl, the Disney Plus movie I did, and I had to leave immediately.
Oh
And then I
no.
spent like
Aw.
3 months in New Mexico. I come back, and there's piles of snow everywhere, but there was no snowing when I was there.
So you didn't even get the real experience. You just got shoved
I
into this
didn't
white
even
land.
get it.
You missed it.
I missed it.
All right. So we'll just do what you think about 5 more, Maureen?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do.
I'm curious about the paperback or Kindle though.
Oh yeah, paperback or Kindle.
Kindle.
Really?
I mean, I love my paperbacks and I have so many books, but my issue is if I see a pretty cover, I get the book
Yeah.
of a book I like. But
Mhm.
then I'll also get it on Kindle because I like read on the go and in
Yeah.
bed. And like
Yep.
I remember the other day, Gabriella was over and she was like, oh my gosh, I love this copy of Emma. And I was like, that's like my 3rd copy of Emma. And that's the prettiest. And that's why it's on the displayed bookshelf.
I have at least 3 of every one of Jane Austen's books. My husband gets really mad at me. You can't have
Yeah,
too
I have
many
a
of these.
sense. I have a Sense and Sensibility on my coffee table right there. And then the other day, a Barnes and Noble near me is going out of business, so everything's 50% off.
Oh.
And I found an even prettier Sense and Sensibility, and I was like, no, you can't. Get a new book that you haven't read yet.
That would be hard to resist, though.
Oh.
A
Oh, it
bookstore
was
going out
hard,
of
but
business.
that
I
one's
get- whoa.
really pretty. That one's really pretty.
Oh. All right. Creamy or crunchy peanut butter?
Creamy.
Okay. That was a
Yeah.
source of contention. We asked on our 100th
Oh.
episode. That was when we asked, and people were like upset if you chose crunchy peanut butter.
Really?
They're like, why?
I
Why
mean-
would you choose that?
I kind of like both, but creamy wins.
Mhm. Frank had mentioned that at that point, if you're eating crunchy, you'd just rather eat peanuts.
Sometimes I like crunchy. Usually I like creamy, but sometimes I'll like crunchy.
Yeah,
You know,
just for something different.
yeah. I usually keep both. I usually keep a small one of crunchy and then
Mhm.
the big one of creamy. All right. Beach or pool?
Beach.
Mhm. Do you have a favorite
It's the
beach?
full experience. I don't have a favorite beach. So when I was really, really young, my parents and I went on vacation and we stayed at a friend's house, and that beach was beautiful because I think it was a private beach. But of course, I was so young. I have no idea which beach that was. It was a beach in Florida, some part of Florida. That's all I know.
That does not narrow it down for you at all.
But some friends of mine have invited me to go to a little vacation this summer to a beach somewhere. They're deciding. And they were like, not Florida. I was like, oh, I didn't know that was like a thing. So I'm going to a not Florida beach soon that I don't know.
A lot of people don't like Florida beaches. A lot of people don't. My
favorite beach is in Florida. It's a Clearwater Beach because it's that white sand that feels like Play-Doh. And
I like Clearwater Beach.
I like Siesta Key Beach too because it's like that.
One time I went on a cruise and this destination was like the cruise line's island, and it was like white sand. Like that was the first time I'd ever spent a good amount of time on white sand where like you can walk all the way in and look down and you still see your feet clearly. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yes, it's beautiful. All right, we'll do a couple more. Sweater or hoodie?
Sweater.
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
And last one, pickles or olives?
Oh.
This is a hard one for me because I'm a salty person in personality and in flavor, but this is hard for me.
I'm going to say olives.
Do you have a favorite kind of olive?
I don't even know if I know the kinds of olives. I just like all kinds of olives, especially when they have like the cheese in them.
Oh yes,
like
I love that.
Pimento.
There's ones that have, you can get ones with blue cheese in them. You can get pimento cheese in them. You can get but we like I like the garlic stuffed ones. Are really good because they're like the jumbo olives.
That's really good too.
Kalamata olives, which are the Greek olives, are super good. The saltier, the better. That's my motto.
I just know I'm one of those people who gets olives on my pizza.
Yeah,
which too. I've heard some people. Okay, so it's not that weird.
No,
but so I guess I do really like olives because some people are like on your pizza.
My daughter is 11, but when we used to order pizza out, she always had to get her own pizza. That I was the only one who eat it with her, but it was bacon, black olives, and that's it. Two of the saltiest things you could possibly put on a pizza. That's all she got.
I mean, my order is salami, mushrooms, and black olives.
Ooh, salami.
It does sound good.
That sounds really good. I might order Domino's.
It is really good.
I have to eat gluten-free, so that's the only place that I can order pizza from that offers that kind of crust. All right, so we do have a question that we end all of our interviews with because we want, I don't know what's going on there. We want to give you an opportunity to share some stuff with us, and we want to help you promote some stuff. So is there a project you have coming up or a movie or a television show you have going on that we can put out there and let everyone know about? Or your Instagram
so right
handle,
now,
social media?
I don't have anything that I can talk about. Just season 3.
Yes.
Hopefully. I'm working on my book. I'll go ahead and share with you guys the title because that is actually what spawned the rest of the book. It is called The Extra Child.
Oh,
that's the name of my book. And yeah, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is real_Artemis. REAL.
Okay.
Just Artemis wasn't available.
You should have made it available to you.
They should have.
And like no account has it either. And I was like, why?
Then why can't you have it?
I was like asking people and they were like, maybe someone in the past had it. And I was like, but no one has it now. And I am Artemis. So
that seems unfair. All right, so we will put those in our description of this interview. And if you want to know more about, or if you want to join the conversation about Sweet Magnolias, you can find us on our Facebook group of the Sweet Magnolias Serenity Family Fan Club on Facebook. Artemis, it was really, really fun talking to you. I really had a good time, and I really appreciate you coming on and spending this hour with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome.
Of course.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So if you guys want to find us on Facebook, all you have to do is search in Facebook for Family Fan Club. All 15, I said 15 of our groups are going to pop up for you. You want a specific group, you can always go check out our podcast pages. We will have our groups listed in there.
And you can find us on any of our social media, which is Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, as Fandom Family Chats. And we are constantly trying to get you fun content. Jeanette is our TikTok wizard, trying to get you fun videos there. Usually has a lot of dudes on there, so there's there's that for you. We have our Twitter and Instagram is not as active as we'd like it to be, and we're working on that, but still, if you have any questions for us, if you want to get involved with what we're doing, if you want to know more about what we do, or maybe some interviews we have coming down the pike, you can hit us up on any of those resources, or you can email us at familyfanclub2021@gmail.com. We check that almost religiously, so reach out to us there and we'll get back to you. Watch out for our website coming soon. We're going to have some merch available for you if you'd like to wear some of our show merchandise for family fan clubs and Fandom Family Chats, as well as we're going to make some FFC merch for some of the shows we're on, like Teen Wolf or Vampire Diaries. We're going to have some fun things for you there. So watch out for that. Keep an eye out for that. And if you are able to, look at our YouTube page, subscribe to that, and keep an eye on our Facebook page. We have Fandom Family Chats. We're going to be making some announcements here in the near future about a big, huge event we've got coming down the pike in June of 2023. So, watch out for that. Get ready to listen to some crazy stuff next week again, and we'll see you real soon.